something feels off regarding the defensive transition for our Cleveland Browns. And we need to talk about why Jared Verse is now the centerpiece of our pass rush. Brian Baldinger has confirmed exactly why Verse is such a dangerous force, detailing how his technical moves and finishing ability make him the immediate successor to Myles Garrett. It is a massive shift for our defense to rely on a player with this unique chess-like mentality, and the stakes for this season have never been higher. My name is Lucas, and the more details emerge, the harder it is to ignore the changing culture. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city in the comments. Let us get into it. The Cleveland Browns have officially entered a new chapter as Jared Verse steps into the spotlight following the massive trade that sent Myles Garrett away from our team. As Cleveland Browns fans, we are witnessing a transition that centers on a young, powerful edge rusher who brings a distinct intensity to our defensive front. Verse arrived in Cleveland as a former first-round pick from the 2024 NFL Draft, bringing a resume that includes recognition as a Defensive Rookie of the Year and 2 Pro Bowl selections during his time with the Los Angeles Rams. Recently, Brian Baldinger provided a technical breakdown of what makes Verse so dangerous, highlighting his exceptional ability to finish plays through a variety of advanced maneuvers like spins, swims, and wrist grabs. This is where it gets real, because while his raw total of 12.0 sacks over 34 games might seem modest to some, his underlying metrics and all-around game, including 45 quarterback hits and 5 forced fumbles, suggest he is just scratching the surface. The fanbase has been processing this shift with a mix of nostalgia for the past and genuine curiosity about the future. Many of us are pinning our hopes on the chemistry developing between Verse and last season's DROI linebacker Carson Schwesinger as they look to anchor this unit under head coach Todd Monken. We are seeing a leadership style from Verse that feels different, promising a fresh identity for our defense even if the raw sack numbers have not yet caught up to his undeniable physical dominance. However, we have to look closer at the actual production history to determine if this high-stakes replacement plan is truly built for long-term success. Does the statistical reality of his rookie and sophomore seasons suggest he can actually replicate the legendary impact we have grown accustomed to seeing? The most jarring reality of this trade is that we traded a legendary cornerstone like Myles Garrett to acquire a talent that the front office clearly values more for his potential, versatility, than his sack production. This move was set into motion because the leadership team wanted a defensive identity shift, prioritizing a high motor and a chess-like approach over the singular explosive dominance we grew accustomed to for years. With only 12.0 career sacks over 34 games, the transition feels risky, yet the staff is clearly banking on his 45 quarterback hits and 5 forced fumbles as indicators that the big plays are waiting to happen. And here's why that's a big deal for us as fans. We are witnessing a complete organizational philosophy overhaul under head coach Todd Monken. The front office views this as a calculated gamble to modernize our defensive pressure, moving away from relying on one superstar to demanding a relentless group-focused effort. Historically, teams that trade away franchise icons often struggle to regain that same locker room respect. But Cleveland is betting that the energy brought by an emerging star like this will stabilize our unit. While we have seen talented pass rushers arrive in town with hype before, the unique pressure of replacing a legend creates a distinct path for this young athlete. Behind closed doors, the coaches believe that by pairing him with a proven linebacker like Carson Schwesinger, they are creating a defensive backbone that will outlast the current era. It is a bold, forward-thinking strategy designed to keep the Browns competitive in an increasingly difficult division, even if the raw statistics do not immediately pop off the page during his first few weeks in our colors. We must remain patient while this new foundation settles into its place on the field. The arrival of Jared Verse marks a significant turning point in the history of this franchise, signaling a departure from the previous era as we transition toward a new defensive identity. For those of us who have followed this team for decades, seeing a talent with 12.0 sacks in 34 games step into such a pivotal role feels like a necessary gamble for our long-term competitiveness. And I'll be straight with you, the immediate impact on our depth chart cannot be overstated, as we are effectively trading away a cornerstone player in Myles Garrett to recalibrate our defensive philosophy. While his raw sack numbers might seem modest at first glance, The metrics Brian Baldinger highlighted suggest Verse possesses the technical discipline to thrive in Todd Monken's system. This shift forces us to rely on a younger, more versatile rotation, which will surely change how we handle the pressure packages we deploy against the high-powered passing attacks in our division. When we look at our upcoming slate of games, particularly our high-stakes matchups against the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, the ability of Verse to finish a rush using the diverse toolkit described by Baldinger becomes the deciding factor in our playoff viability. We are betting that this new energy, paired with the existing talent like Carson Schwessinger, will create a historic defensive unit capable of stifling any opponent. If this transition works, we maintain our standing as one of the most formidable defenses in the league, but we do so with a fresh leadership style that prioritizes all-around contributions rather than individual accolades. It is a bold direction, yet for those who have weathered every season in Cleveland, watching this new chapter unfold with such high-end potential is exactly the kind of change that keeps our spirits high and our expectations for the postseason firmly intact. Bringing Jared Verse into the fold represents a massive gamble on potential versus proven production, but the upside is undeniable for our defensive front. By pairing him with Carson Schwessinger, we are essentially banking on a new generation to anchor this unit with high motor energy and physical versatility. The sheer technical variety Brian Baldinger highlighted, from swim moves to wrist grabs, shows a player who understands the chess match of the trenches at a high level. Now here's the thing about this trade. We are moving on from an icon in Myles Garrett, and that creates a massive void that stats alone cannot fill. While Verse has logged 124 tackles and 45 quarterback hits, his 12.0 sacks across 34 games are modest for a primary edge rusher. Skeptics around the league, including some voices within the Rams and other organizations, wonder if his impressive pass rush metrics will ever translate into the high sack totals we desperately need to maintain our defensive dominance. It is a bold departure from what we are used to seeing in Cleveland, and relying on young players to carry the banner is always a precarious strategy. Here's where I land on this move. I believe the narrative that Verse is a plug-and-play replacement for a player of Garrett's stature is slightly overblown. It is unfair to place that weight on a young man so early in his career, and I think we should temper our expectations regarding his sack numbers this season. While the leadership and energy he brings are certainly refreshing for the locker room, he needs to prove he can consistently finish plays against the best tackles in the league before we start comparing his trajectory to those who came before him. We have a lot to look forward to, but patience is the key for every fan watching this transition unfold. The transition from a legendary figure like Myles Garrett to Jared Verse signals a definitive pivot toward a younger, high-energy defensive identity for this organization. By prioritizing a player who thrives on versatility and cerebral play, the front office is betting that the cumulative disruption from Verse and linebacker Carson Schwessinger will keep our defense among the best in the league for years to come. The bottom line here is that while the raw sack numbers might seem modest at 12.0 over 34 games, his impressive metrics regarding quarterback hits and tackles for loss prove he is already making a massive impact. You should feel optimistic heading into this season because we have acquired a leader who actively wants to be the face of this franchise. His ability to finish plays with a variety of technical moves, as highlighted by Brian Baldinger, suggests that his production is poised to climb significantly as he hits his prime years in Cleveland. It is rare to find a player who combines this much physical power with the mental discipline required to dissect offensive lines like a chess game. We are watching a new chapter unfold, and the potential for a historic defensive combination is something we have not seen in quite a while. Does Verse possess the necessary skill set to surpass his previous career high of 7.5 sacks during his first season here in Cleveland? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Dawg Pound. I'll see you in the next one. But before you go, let me know your predictions down in the comments below. Do you think our defensive line has what it takes to lead the league in total quarterback takedowns this upcoming year? I am genuinely curious to hear your expert takes on this team's potential.